A new season of baseball is upon us here in the south side of Chicago. The White Sox are coming off of arguably the worst season in the history of Major League Baseball, and that means there's only one lane left to go, and that's up. I mean, at least I would hope we don't lose more games than last year. That would be really bad. I appreciate all the support on episode 1, and I'm excited to get started here with episode 2. I appreciate everyone's patience waiting for this to be uploaded, but I've wanted to make sure the settings and sliders for this series would be perfect. If you guys remember from early episode 1, I talked about how we're going to go through 6 unique elements of this series that is going to make this franchise mode more exciting and more immersive than you've ever seen before. Well, let's talk about the first one, and it's going to be involving the pace of this series. I want to get through at least 10 plus seasons here, and I have a blueprint of how we are going to do that. So the plan is that each regular season, starting this year, we're going to go through 6 episodes. Each month will get its own episode, and each month will be a little bit different in some way. So today we're going to make it through the end of April, and our entire focus today will be on the big league team, going through spring training, narrowing the roster, and learning about the team we have through the first month of the year. In May, we're obviously going to still spend a lot of time with the big league team, as we will in every month, but we're also going to cover the minor leagues, take a look at some of the top young prospects in the organization. In June, along with going over major league games and whatnot, we're going to talk about scouting. We're going to introduce ourselves to the draft class, and we're going to look at some highlights of some of the top prospects. In July, we have a lot to go over. Along with, obviously, going through the big league stuff, we're going to talk about the MLB draft. We're going to go through the All-Star break, and that'll bring us to August. Now, technically, the trade deadline is on July 31st, but that'll be in the August episode, along with, of course, covering the Major League roster. And then September will be kind of a free month. We can do what we want with it. Generally, this will be based on how the team is performing during the season. And then once we eventually make the playoffs, probably not here in season 1, but once we do, we're not going to play every game in full because the playoffs would take really long. I'm going to kind of do what I did at the end of the Giants franchise last year. We're going to move the critical situation bar all the way to the left. That way we can hop into every game rather than hopping into, say, a third of the games and only doing it at the end. But we're going to play parts of every game. We're going to play some full games as well, obviously some of the big ones. So that way we can get through the regular season quicker and the postseason quicker, so we can get through at least 10 seasons of the series. In baseball, things take a little bit longer to develop compared to the NFL and the NBA, especially considering we're using the White Sox and we're so far behind everybody else. Next episode's element is going to be a lot more exciting than this one, though. I'm really excited to go over it because I think it's going to be super unique, super different. No one's ever really done something like this before, but I'm going to need a little help from you guys. We're going to go through some stats at the end of the episode after we're done with April. And I'm going to need you guys to point out a player in the comments who stood out to you. It can be them standing out in a good way, them standing out in a bad way. It can be a major leaguer. It can be a minor leaguer. It can be whoever. There's no limit to who it can be. But I need your help in the comments to point out a player. And I'm going to show you why in the next episode. It's going to be really fun. Of course, I've talked about the roster that I'll be using in a previous video. I have changed some of the ratings, especially for some of the top prospects, so they can be set apart compared to the other players in the minor leagues. There wasn't anybody on our roster who got a super notable boost other than Noah Schultz. That's because his numbers in Double-A last year were unbelievable. This guy is a total stud who, assuming he pitches well in the minors this year, will probably be up in the big leagues by the end of the season. And I wanted his rating to reflect that. So he's going to be a 69 rather than a 65. Now, in real life, the White Sox made a pretty big roster move the other day, and I will not be copying the moves that the White Sox have made in real life. But since our series hasn't started yet, I kind of want to follow what they're going to do. Joey Gallo has been released and plans on becoming a pitcher. Now, I think since he's a position player, there's no way I can physically make him a pitcher in this game, which is unfortunate. I kind of want to keep him around anyway, so I think we're going to hold him off the 40-man roster and keep him in the minor leagues, but we'll keep him in the organization. I also want to have the real-life injuries. The White Sox have a few guys who have recently gone through Tommy John surgery, and I would like to reflect that. If you would like to manually put injuries in the game, this is how you do it. So when you see injuries on, switch it over to manual so you can give players injuries yourself. If there's a guy you really don't like on another team, you can have him out for the season if you want to. So from there, this is where we're going to manage our injuries, and we're going to give these guys Tommy John. Kai Bush, a talented young lefty prospect, will be out for the entire season, unfortunately, with elbow surgery, along with Prelander Barra, who I think could have been a big league contributor for us this year, and Juan Carrella, who's also a top 20 prospect. I also gave some of the injuries in real life. For example, Garrett Cole just got Tommy John surgery a couple of weeks ago, so I have put that in here as well. He will not play for the Yankees this season. So we have made it to the end of spring training. We currently sit at a record of 10-16. Not dead last in the Cactus League. We were tied with the Giants, and we were better than the Athletics, so at least we weren't totally the worst. In terms of notable performers, Brooks Baldwin was competing for a spot on the big league team. He was quite impressive. Luis Robert had a solid spring. And while we're on the subject, are we doing Luis Robert or Luis Robert? I've gotten mixed results based on the people who I've asked. From what I know, he prefers Luis Robert based on the research and what I read. So I want to ask all my White Sox people now what we're going to call him. That way we don't go back and forth in the future. Kyle Teal also had a really good spring. He's obviously a big-time prospect for us and a guy who I think is going to be ready for the big leagues at some point this season. And now we get to the guys who didn't do so well. Colson Montgomery, another one of our big prospects. He did not have a very good spring, unfortunately. As for the pitching, some guys who played well include Shane Smith, our Rule 5 draft pick, who will obviously be making the final roster. Drew Thorpe had a pretty solid spring for us, locking himself into the starting rotation. Jonathan Cannon had a good spring. He's got a shot to start on opening day. Some of the other guys down here did not do so well, particularly Jairo Iriarte, who is one of our better pitching prospects, along with veteran reliever Steven Wilson. So now we have to narrow down our roster. I think Iriarte is going to play in the big leagues at some point this season, but he's going to start in AAA. Sean Burke is the opening day starter for the White Sox in real life, but since his rating is only in the 60s here, and he didn't have that good of a spring, I'm going to send him to the minors. These are the relievers that will go down. The guy I'm most excited about at this group is Jared Schuster, former first-round pick of the Braves. I think he's got some upside, but he did not have a particularly great spring. Kyle Teal will start the year in AAA, as will Colson Montgomery. I don't want to rush our top prospects, even if they're better than the guys we already have up in the big leagues. I want to prioritize their developments, and I want to be smart with how we utilize them. But if I think they're 100% ready, I will call them up at some point this year. I was hoping Corey Julks will make the final roster since he's good at hitting lefties, but he did not have a good spring. He was beat out by some of the other outfielders. As for Austin Slater, he has over 5 years of MLB service, so we cannot technically send him down to AAA right away. We're going to have to DFA him, and I was actually able to find a trade for him. We're going to send him to the Athletics, a team looking for potentially another veteran outfielder, in exchange for 22-year-old infield prospect Robert Puason. For those of you who follow minor league baseball, you probably know this name pretty well, because around 5 or 6 years ago, Puason was amongst the top international free agent prospects. It has not panned out at all for him. He has a career OPS of .630 in rookie ball. He has not gotten past A ball, where his OPS there for his career is .500 on the nose. So maybe we can turn it around with him. It seems like based on his career stats, he's too far gone, but he's only 22 years old, so you never know. So with that, we are here in the regular season. We are ready for opening day against the Los Angeles Angels. But we have one more order of business. We've got to figure out our lineups, our rotation, and determine who our opening day starting pitcher will be. So obviously these lineups are not good. We only have 3 players higher than a 70 overall. You're going to have to play at a replacement level to stay on the roster because we've got some good young players in the minors who might be better than some of these guys and could potentially be ready to take their spots. As for the pitching rotation, I've decided that Jonathan Cannon will be the opening day starter. I thought he was pretty solid last year and he was pretty good in the spring, so I think he's earned the opportunity to start on opening day for us. The other starters will be Wilson, Martin, Thorpe, and Martin Perez. The bullpen is quite bad, but we're going to have to work with it. Penn Murphy will be the closer to start the year. He is, in my opinion, the best of our relievers. As we get set for opening day and look at the Los Angeles Angels, they are one of the few teams in baseball who are just as depressing as we are. This might be the first time in MLB history that two teams playing against each other on opening day were this close to not even combining for 100 wins last year. Well, obviously with the exception of the pandemic year, but that doesn't really count. It is a packed house here at Guaranteed Rate Field. 40,000 faithful have shown up to watch their Chicago White Sox kick off the 2025 season. Projected to win 67 games this year. If this team wins 67 games, I will be doing jumping jacks for joy. That is 26 more wins than last year. That's like a team that would have went 500 last year, becoming a super team. That's how far away the White Sox are from everybody else in Major League Baseball right now. As we take a look at both lineups, 1 to 9. Take a look at Jonathan Cannon, who was a rookie last year, was pretty solid. 4.49 ERA, 1.33 whip, had a strong spring, hence why we have given him the opening day start. So we'll see what he can do against the top of the Angels order here in the first inning. Led off by second baseman Luis Rengifo, who hit 300 last year and is an impending free agent at the end of the season. He goes down on the cutter. Good pitch there by Cannon to get things started. That'll bring up Mike Trout, playing a new position this year. He's moved over to right. Was amongst the MLB's leaders in home runs last year before a season-ending injury in late April. Full count, got him looking on the sweeper. A 1-2-3 inning to get things started for the young righty Jonathan Cannon, striking out a pair, including Mike Trout. That'll bring us to the bottom of the first. We'll see if the White Sox offense could look to get something early as we take a look at the Angels opening day starter, Yusei Kikuchi, who they signed this offseason in free agency. He had a career year in 2024 with the Blue Jays and the Astros. WAR right around 4. ERA hovered around 4 as well. Michael A. Taylor gets plunked to lead off the game. Well, that's a start. Charge the mound! Charge the mound! We've got a runner aboard here, but not for long. Luis Robert on the ground. 6-4-3, double play. Not a great opening at bat for the guy who's supposed to be our franchise player. Let's move into the second now. Jorge Soler leads things off for the Angels. Hits that one down the line and fair. Past the glove of third baseman Brian Ramos. Soler aboard at first base. Usually we're used to having Soler on our teams at the start of series. We had him last year with the Giants. We had him the year before with the Marlins. Now he's on enemy lines. The catcher Logan O'Hoppe gets that one over the glove of the second baseman Lenyn Sosa. It'll roll near the wall. O'Hoppe makes his way over to second. Soler at third. And the Angels have a pair of runners in scoring position with nobody out. What a great opportunity for them to get some early runs and take an early lead here on opening day. As that'll bring up the former White Sox, Yoan Moncada, who flies this one into right. Michael A. Taylor is under it. He will make the play. Should be enough room for the sacrifice. Taylor's got a good arm, and he gets it there, but it's just barely not in time. A sac fly for the former top White Sox prospect, Yoan Moncada. And the Angels are on the board. They lead 1-0. Taylor Ward goes down on the circle change. A great pitch by Cannon and a huge strikeout because now they're probably going to need a base hit to bring in this run. Former number 1 overall pick of the Phillies, Mickey Moniak, sends this one into foul territory. Mike Tauchman will track it down, and he will make the play at the wall. So the Angels do score one. They strike first, but I feel like that inning could have gone a lot worse for the White Sox. The Angels had 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out, and Cannon was able to get out of the jam, only having allowed 1 run. Not much going for our offense here in the bottom of the second. Benintendi checks his swing, did not go around, close call, and the count is now full. With the exception of the hit by pitch, the White Sox are yet to have gotten a base runner so far. Benintendi looks to change that as he sends this one high into the air. Into right center field. Moniak is under it, and he will make the play. A 1-2-3 inning for Yusei Kikuchi, and not much going so far for the White Sox lineup. No hits, no walk. 1 hit by pitch, though. That's our only base runner, as it's 1-0 going into the third. Top of the order up with 1 away for the Angels. That'll start with Luis Rengifo. Struck out his last time up, and he belts this one into left. Tauchman just tripped on air, and Rengifo's going to try to leg this into a double. Now, I can already see little Timmy complaining in the comments as to why Tauchman tripped there. What had happened was I had tried to use the controller to lunge the third baseman closer to the ball, but the controller was already on Tauchman at that point, and that's why he ultimately fell on, well, nothing. As Nolan Shanuel strikes out. Good pitch by Cannon. 2 away here for Mike Trout. Count is full, and Trout will draw a walk. We didn't want to give him anything too good there. I mean, it's Mike Trout. He's probably going to make a play. And that'll bring up Jorge Soler. Hits this one into center, and this one's going to drop for a hit. Runner looks to score. He is safe, and the Angels lead 2-0. It's an RBI single for Jorge Soler, who's 2 for 2 so far today. They get bat now for Logan O'Hoppe, the 2-2. He sends this one into left. Tauchman chases after it. This ball's got some carry. But Tauchman grabs it in front of the warning track. The Angels leave 2 aboard, but they score another run off of an RBI single by Jorge Soler, and the Angels lead it 2-0 going into the bottom of the third. The White Sox still looking for their first hit. 1-2, Corey Lee pops it up into the shallow outfield. Renjifo's under it. He will make the play. And the Chicago offense continues to struggle. Another 1-2-3 inning. I think based on how our offenses look so far, there's one easy conclusion we can make. This is going to be a long season, guys. Buckle up. Into the fourth, Yoan Moncada leads things off. Drove in a run off of a sacrifice fly in his last at-bat. And he strikes out on the circle change. Moncada, once a top prospect here. He was supposed to become a superstar. Spent the last 7 seasons with the White Sox, but it just never really worked out. Taylor Ward goes down on this sinker. Jonathan Cannon's at 6 strikeouts now. He's had some impressive swing and miss stuff early in this game. Mickey Moniak now. He finds himself behind 1-2, and he goes down on the circle change. Striking out the side is Jonathan Cannon. 3 Ks in a row. That's only good in baseball and not anywhere else. Into the bottom of the fourth, top of the order, up for the White Sox. Michael A. Taylor got hit by a pitch last time, and here he goes down on the high fastball. Kikuchi has retired the last 9 batters in a row. As with 2 away, that'll bring up Lenyn Sosa. He mashes left-handed pitching. Hits this ball pretty well, 92 off the bat, but it's caught by Renjifo. When is it time to start talking about a no-hitter? We're through 4 innings, and the White Sox are still without a hit. I thought it couldn't get worse from last year losing 121 games. Zach Neto leads off the 5th, and he draws a walk. Good eye. Neto, the talented young shortstop, former first-round pick, has really blossomed into a good player for these guys. Luis Renjifo down the line. Fair ball past the glove of Brian Ramos. 2 early base runners here for the Angels. After Cannon's impressive 4th inning, I wanted to keep him out there, but he's slowing down. After allowing a walk and a hit, I think this is where we're going to take him out. A pretty up-and-down opener for Jonathan Cannon. 4 innings, 2 earned runs allowed so far. We'll see if either of these 2 guys can score. With nobody out, it is certainly possible. Out of the bullpen, it'll be Cam Boozer. Made his debut as a 31-year-old last year with the Red Sox and was quite solid. Not to be mistaken with the Cam Boozer who will be playing basketball next year at Duke. As Nolan Shanuel hits this one into left, that goes for a hit. The Angels are going to send the runner. Tauchman, the throw is well off. And Neto slides safely. The Angels add to the lead. It's 3-0 off of the RBI single by Nolan Shanuel. Mike Trout now 1-2. Swings at a pitch he should not have. Grounder to second. We're going to try to get 2. Trout is safe at first. A good hustle there by Trout, and that's going to change this inning a lot. Instead of there being 2 outs, there's now runners on the corners, and the door is wide open for the Angels to add to the lead, which they will. Jorge Soler is 3 for 3. Trout heads for third. Despite a good throw from Robert, he is safe, and the Angels add to the lead as it's now 4-0. Have yourself a day, Jorge Soler. So we're going to make another pitching change. Cam Boozer has not been all that good. Granted, it's only been a few batters, but with 2 runners on base, only 1 out, and this game potentially getting out of hand quickly, we need our most clutch pitcher in the game, and I think that's James Karinchak. He has the highest clutch rating. He hasn't pitched since 2023, missing last year with an injury, but I think he's the guy who can get us out of this spot. Full count here for Logan O'Hoppe. Puts it on the ground, should be 2. Baldwin to Sosa, over to Vaughn, double play. 6-4-3 to end the inning. The Angels scored 2, but again, I guess it, could have been worse. That'll bring us bottom 5. Mike Tauchman in the left field. This ball is going to drop. And finally, the White Sox get a base hit. It took us until the bottom of the 5th, but it's Mike Tauchman who ends the drought. Andrew Benintendi's going to rip this one into right center. Will not take us long to get hit number 2. This ball one hops off the wall. Tauchman rounds third, heads home, throw to the plate, not in time. Tauchman scores from first. RBI double for Andrew Benintendi. And the White Sox are on the board. It's 4-1. Ryan Ramos goes down on the fastball. Kikuchi looking to keep the lead where it is. His 5th punch out of the game. Brooks Baldwin now skies this one into right. Mike Trout is under it. But we made some progress in that inning. We got 2 hits. We scored a run. Now, granted, the Angels got 2 runs in this inning, but offensively, we made some progress. Karinchak still in the game. He strikes out Taylor Ward. It's been a rough one at the plate for Ward today as he chases the knuckle curve. Runner aboard. Neto's going fishing. Does not catch anything with that bait as Karinchak had him swinging out of his shoes. Bottom 6, Corey Lee up the middle. Base hit. The offense appears to have awoken. It took us a little while, but the bats are starting to show up. Leadoff runner aboard. That'll bring up Michael A. Taylor looking at a full count. And he goes down looking on the fastball. Thought that might be ball 4. Unfortunately, he does not get the call. And the Angels are going to take Kikuchi out on a high note. They see we're starting to hit off of him a little bit, and they're going to take him out before things have a chance of getting ugly. Robert Stevenson will come into the game. Has not pitched since 2023, where he did perform at a pretty high level. Whip below .9. With 1 away, it's Luis Robert. 2-1. On the ground. Chopper to third. Could be 2. 5-4-3. Inning-ending double play. Luis Robert is now grounded into multiple double plays in this game, and it remains 4-1. Dan Altavilla is out of the bullpen through 3 2/3 inning with the Royals last year. Did not go well. He's only thrown 5 innings since 2020, having allowed 7 runs in that stretch, as he gets Luis Rengifo to go down looking. Rengifo had base hits in each of his last 2 at-bats, but not that time. 1 away here for Nolan Schanuel. Count is full, and Schanuel does not bite on the slider. That was a close call, up and in, but he takes that one for ball 4. 2-1 now for Mike Trout, one of the few Angels batters who's been quiet today. On the ground, Baldwin's going to get the 1 out at first. We would not have gotten the out at second, and if we went for the double play, both runners would have been safe. It definitely stings keeping the inning going with Jorge Soler up, who's 3 for 3 in this game. And Soler lines it into left. This ball is out of here. 378 feet, showing off some Soler power. Jorge Soler, 4 for 4. He's driven in 4 runs, and the Angels lead at 6-1. 2-run shot for Soler, 109 off the bat. That ball barely made it into the air, but Soler hit it so hard that it just kept going and going until it made its way over the fence, and he knew it as soon as it touched the bat. Have yourself an opening day and have yourself an Angels debut, Jorge Soler. We're going to make another pitching change. We're going to go with Tyler Gilbert, the lefty, with an ERA of 3.24 and just over 8 innings a year ago with the White Sox. He will face off against Logan O'Hoppe. 2-2 count, 2 away, and he chases the splitter. Great pitch there by Gilbert getting out of the inning, but the Angels add 2 with a 2-run blast from Jorge Soler. 6-1 score going into the bottom of the 7th. Post-7-inning stretch. We'll see if the White Sox can look to make a run here. Josh Rojas in off the bench. Pinch hitting for Lenin Sosa, and he will not take advantage of his opportunity. We wanted to get Rojas in since we're facing off against the righty, but unfortunately he only flies out. Andrew Vaughn is now up. He's been quiet today. Chases the slider. What a pitch by Robert Stevenson. Looking for the 1-2-3. Mike Tauchman sends this one into the gap, and this ball's going to drop, likely for extra bases as he makes his way over to second. And in a game where the White Sox have not gotten much going offensively, Mike Tauchman has been a bright spot, his second hit of the afternoon. Benintendi drove him in back in the 5th. He's hoping to do so again. But he goes down looking on the fastball. Stevenson makes it out of the 7th as it remains 6-1 going into the 8th. Gilbert still in, 1 away for Taylor Ward. Lines this one in to right. That goes for a hit. The Angels looking to add some insurance runs. They're already up by 5, but the more the merrier, I guess. Mickey Moniak rips this one into right. That goes for a single. So the Angels now have 2 runners on, and we're going to go back to the bullpen. Into the game for the White Sox now will be the big righty Justin Anderson. 4.39 ERA, 1.5 whip a year ago. He's going to look to get out of the jam as the Angels find themselves with 2 runners aboard. And that'll bring up Zach Neto here at the bottom of the order. 3-2 draws a walk. That was a close call. Neto does not take the high fastball. And the bases are loaded. Luis Rengifo launches this one into right. You can't forget about it. A grand slam. And the Angels now lead it 10-1. What a day for Luis Rengifo. He now has 3 hits, including a salami, and the Angels now find themselves up big here against the White Sox. Let's go bottom 8. Chicago mostly playing for pride at this point. Brian Ramos puts it on the ground. Rengifo unable to make the play, and Brian Ramos leads off the inning with a base hit. Could this be the start of a rally? All we would need is at least 10 runs to take the lead. Brooks Baldwin now, 2-2 on the ground. Neto deflects it, but he doesn't have a play to first. Back-to-back infield singles for the White Sox. With nobody out, we've got 2 runners on base. I'm just saying, you never know. Dominic Fletcher now up. 2-1, lines it to first. Shadowell makes the play, nearly tags the runner. Dodged a bullet there. We got lucky. And there's still 2-1 with 1 away. Michael A. Taylor swinging a miss on the curveball. Good pitch by Stevenson. And that'll bring up Luis Robert, who's not at a good game. 0 for 3, pair of double plays, but he will draw a walk. That's the area that I think he really needs to improve upon, his plate discipline. Good to see him taking that one for ball 4. Bases loaded now for Josh Rojas. Lines it to short, and it's caught by Neto. So both teams had the bases loaded here in the 8th inning. The Angels get a grand slam, and the White Sox score nobody. Into the 9th now, Shane Smith, the Rule 5 draft pick, making his big league debut. He'll start with Jorge Soler, who's 4 for 4. Puts this one on the ground over to second. Rojas fields it cleanly. And Shane Smith does what none of our other pitchers have been able to do today. Get Jorge Soler out. Second batter, Logan O'Hoppe, sends this ball a long way into left. And that one will make it 11-1. So Shane Smith in his second big league at bat allows a dinger, and the Angels are now up by 10. They're going to bring in Garrett McDaniels, who's also making his big league debut. We'll see if his inning can go a little bit smoother than that of Shane Smith. Potentially the final out, Andrew Benintendi lines this one into left. It is caught by Taylor Ward. That'll wrap it up. The Angels win here on opening day 11-1. I would like to consider myself an optimist. And looking at this game for the White Sox, the best thing that I can say about it is that the game is over. That was horrible. The offense was bad. The pitching was bad. It was all bad. This team looked like a team who lost 120 games last year. 3 hits for Rengifo. He drove in 4, including a grand slam. Soler went 4 for 5 with a homer. He also drove in 4. And the pitching was really good across the board for the Angels. We just didn't get much going here at the plate. Jonathan Cannon was okay. Not horrible, but not great. And then the bullpen was just really, really bad. There's a lot to work on. This team is far away from where we want to be. Let's simulate to this series against Cleveland. I want to take a look at one of our division rivals today. So we'll wrap up the series with the Angels. We then got 3 at home against Minnesota and 3 on the road against Detroit. So a lot of games against teams in the AL Central. People like to knock this division, but I think it's going to be a real challenge to win here. We've got 4 very strong opponents in this division, and then us. So let's go into this last game here against the Angels. We ended up winning the second game, so we've got a chance to win the series. We're up by 1, 2 on, 1 away. Shadowell lines it to first. Vaughn makes the play. We're unable to tag out the runner. That could have been a sick double play. And now up for the biggest at-bat of the game, it's Mike Trout. The 1-0, lines it into left over the glove of Ramos. The Angels looking to tie it, and they will. This game is knotted up at 7. Another bullpen choke. At least the offense actually showed up today. And we're going to bring in James Karinchak. As I mentioned, he's the guy I trust with runners on base. He's going to be our high-leverage pitcher this year who looks to get us out of sticky situations like this. Jorge Soler on the ground to third. Ramos, his throw to first is in time. So the Angels get one, but that could have gone worse. At the very least, they don't take the lead, and the offense is going to have an opportunity to potentially win this game. Brian Ramos has been the star of this show. He's homered twice in this one, and he'll be looking for a third here in the bottom of the 8th. Mike Tauchman homered twice in the previous game, so we're already getting some very impressive early offensive showings as Ramos strikes out on the sinker. The White Sox would win it, though, 8-7 with an RBI single in the bottom of the 8th by Luis Robert to win it. So we have won our first series of the year, and we are over 500 with a record of 2-1. Who would have expected that? Over 500 here in Season 1. Great game for the offense. Ramos homered twice. Vaughn had 3 hits, and Luis Robert drove in the winning run while finishing a homer shy at the cycle. The winning ways would not continue, though. We ended up getting swept by Minnesota. We're now 2-4, and that brings us into the first of 3 at Comerica Park against the Tigers. Bottom 7, up by 2, bases loaded as Torres puts it on the ground. Josh Rojas makes the play. Throw to first is in time. Torres' bad decision of swinging at that pitch ended up being the difference. The White Sox would add a couple of runs, and we would snap the 3-game losing streak, winning our first road game of the season, beating the Tigers 6-2. Luis Robert led the way again. This time he was a triple shy of the cycle. Homered for the first time this season, as did Benintendi. Great start from Bryce Wilson. Bullpen, not quite as good. That'll bring us to this second game against Detroit. Tied at 3, top of the 9th. Runner on third, 2 away for Dominic Fletcher. Splits the third baseman and shortstop for a base hit. The White Sox take the lead 4-3. We haven't gotten much out of Fletcher this year, so it's good to see him getting a big hit at a big spot in this game. Michael A. Taylor now 2 for 3, swinging a miss on the slider. The single by Fletcher ended up being the game winner for us as Penn Murphy would make it through the 9th. The White Sox have won 2 games in a row. We're back at 500 now with a record of 4-4. Obviously, 1 week is a very small sample size, but we're playing some respectable ball. Double and a triple for Benintendi, the only 2 extra base hits for us today. Solid start for Davis Martin. Bullpen slams the door. We did lose the last game 3-0, getting shut out. But overall, 4-5, we could be playing a lot worse. Luis Robert's been impressive. He already has 5 extra base hits, and he's drawn 6 walks. The power and the plate discipline have been really good from him up to this point, which is great to see. So that'll bring us to a 3-game set in Cleveland, and I'm definitely going to play this first game, get an opportunity to use Drew Thorpe. His season debut was a very impressive one, 6 scoreless against Minnesota. We ended up losing the game. The bullpen completely blew it, but it certainly was not his fault. He pitched a great game against the Twins, and we'll see if he can carry that over to this matchup here against the reigning AL Central champion Cleveland Guardians, who currently sit at a record of 5-4. I'm excited to play more games against our division rivals because, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I think this is a very talented division, and for whatever reason, the AL Central gets a really bad rap. There were 3 playoff teams in this division last year. Not only did they make the playoffs, but Cleveland, Detroit, and Kansas City all won playoff series. And you can argue Minnesota might be more talented than any of them. As we take a look at both lineups 1-9, and we take a look at Ben Lively, making the start for the Guardians. Pitched very well in his season debut. 6 innings, only allowed 1 run. Got the win for Cleveland. And we'll see what he can do against this mighty White Sox lineup. Josh Rojas getting things started. Count is even 2-2. Belts this one into center. And the White Sox lead off the game with a base runner as Josh Rojas makes it to first with a single. And it'll bring up Luis Robert, who's played very well through the first 9 games of the year. Sends this one right over to second. What a play. Looking at turn 2, and they do. 4-6-3 double play. Gabriel Arias showing off the leather there at second base. Mike Tauchman now 2-1, lines in the left. That is a fair ball. Bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. And the White Sox have a runner in scoring position. That took quite the bounce. And that'll bring up Andrew Vaughn. 2-2 for the former number 3 overall pick who goes down on the fastball. Lively gets through the first, allows a couple of base hits, but no further damage done. Let's take a look at the talented righty Drew Thorpe, who showed some flashes last year, was very solid in his season debut against Minnesota, but there were some red flags. He walked 6 batters while only striking out 5. He doesn't allow hits, he doesn't really allow homers, but the walk rate and the strikeout rate is what he needs to improve on this season, and that's a good start as he strikes out Stephen Kwan. Will Brennan now, up the middle, that goes for a base hit. And the White Sox allow their first runner of the game. Brennan is on with 1 away. So that'll bring up Jose Ramirez, the superstar of this team, looking to do some damage. Runner goes for second. Not even close. He's out of there. Matt Thaiss behind the plate. Guns him down. Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. J-Ram now ignites this one into right. Fletcher at the track, at the wall. It's gone. Scrapes over the fence. But all homers were created equal. Third of the year for Jose Ramirez. And the Cleveland Guardians lead at 1-0. That'll bring up Brian Ramos, who's played well in limited opportunity this year. Goes down looking on the fastball. Good pitch by Lively. That'll bring up Big Fletch with 2 away, although I don't think the Big Fletch name is going to work, considering he's 5'6". Will be caught in center field by Lane Thomas. Cleveland makes it through. They hold on to their 1-0 lead. Bo Naylor goes down on the slider. We're seeing some good swing and miss stuff early from Drew Thorpe, who's already struck out a pair. Lane Thomas chases the slider. Hop aboard the Lane train all the way to the dugout. Thorpe strikes out a pair, and that brings us into the third. Lenyn Sosa up for the White Sox. This one is hit down the line, and that one is fair. Sosa's not had a great season so far, barely hitting 200. But he will leg out a double, and the White Sox have a runner in scoring position, potentially looking to tie this game. Sosa's second of the year. That brings us back to the top of the order. Josh Rojas into left. That goes for a single, his second hit of the game. We're going to hold Sosa. I think Stephen Kwan had a chance of potentially getting him there. So now there's runners on the corners, 1 away. Luis Robert has been the king of double plays so far this year. And luckily, he does not ground into one. Flies it high and deep into right. That ball is caught. It should be enough to tag up the runner. We will gladly take this result from Luis Robert. Game is tied at 1 as the sacrifice fly is successful, scoring Lenyn Sosa. So we're knotted up at 1 now in the bottom of the third as Brian Rocchio goes down on the cutter. Another great pitch from Thorpe, his 4th punch out of the game. 2-2 for Stephen Kwan. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. Other than allowing the home run by Jose Ramirez, Drew Thorpe has been really impressive today. He allowed the 2 hits in the first. No base runners, though, since the homer by Ramirez. Into the 4th now. Andrew Vaughn launches it into left. No doubt about that one. 427 feet. First home run of the year. And the White Sox take the lead 2-1. That ball was absolutely crushed by Andrew Vaughn. Even though we're 4-5, our team has not hit for much power this year. Second to last in Major League Baseball in home runs. We're looking for more, and we get a long one there. I think everybody in this building knew that ball was gone as soon as it hit the bat. What a swing by Andrew Vaughn, 115 exit velo. Dominic Fletcher now with 2 up for the Guardians. He's ahead in the count 3-1, and he will take a walk. Looking at the high and inside fastball. Another base runner for Chicago. I feel like overall the offense has played a pretty good game today. We're getting guys on base. We're hitting the ball solid. There's Matt Thaiss. Flies it into center. Lane Thomas is under it. He makes the play. But the White Sox do take the lead here at the top of the 4th with a solo moonshot for Andrew Vaughn. I like these news stories that we get to see throughout the year. Shout out our guy Stone Garrett with 3 homers and a win against the Dodgers. Will Brennan goes down on the fastball right down the middle. Another punch out for Drew Thorpe. Carlos Slamtana now sends this one into right. That ball goes high into the air, over the moon, and into the glove of Dominic Fletcher. 10 consecutive batters retired by Drew Thorpe, and we're really seeing the flashes from him as to why he's been such a highly regarded prospect. He has shown those flashes in both games he's pitched this year, today in particular. Lenyn Sosa leads off the fifth, doubled and scored his last time up, but he strikes out on the curveball. Good pitch by Ben Lively. Josh Rojas, 2 for 2 this afternoon, looking to make it 3 for 3. Into the left center gap, that one will drop for a hit in front of the glove of Steven Kwan. A hat trick for Josh Rojas, his third hit of the game, and that's going to lead to a pitching change as we look at the best bullpen in baseball. These guys have some dogs out of the pen, including Trevor Stephan. 9 scoreless innings this year for the righty. He'll face off against Luis Robert. Drove in a run off of a sacrifice his last time up. Rips this one into left center. One hops off the wall. Sosa will round third, heads home, throw to the plate. Is in time! They got him! Wow, what a play by the Cleveland defense. Kwan to Rocchio to Bo Naylor, and they get the runner out, keeping the lead at 2-1. 2 gone for Tauchman. He pops this one up into the shallow infield. Jose Ramirez will chase after it. He will make the play. The White Sox held off the board off of a near RBI double from Luis Robert as Lenyn Sosa is tagged out at home. We'll see if the Guardians can take advantage of this momentum boost. They would start the inning with a base runner, ending the consecutive out streak. But that's not going to stop Drew Thorpe from shoving against this lineup. Naylor goes down looking. Thomas puts it on the ground. This could go for 2, and it will not. Lane Thomas is safe at first, unable to get the inning-ending double play. And we'll see if Cleveland can take advantage of another break. 1-2. Gabriel Arias goes down looking on the cutter. 5 innings, a 1-run ball for Drew Thorpe. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to keep going, but he is on an absolute roll. He has still only let up 2 hits today. Andrew Vaughn homered his last time up, leads off the 6th, and he goes down on the fastball. Good pitch by Trevor Stephan. 2-1 for Andrew Benintendi. This one is ripped into right. That one goes for a hit, and the White Sox get themselves another base runner here. The team continues to hit the ball well regardless of who's pitching. Brian Ramos up the middle, base hit. Another base knock for Chicago. 2 runners on base, 1 away. We've got to get some more runs here. I do not trust our bullpen, even with how good Drew Thorpe is pitching. Dominic Fletcher, 3-2, draws another walk, his second of the game, and the bases are now loaded. A huge spot in this game for the catcher Matt Thays, who we're going to keep in rather than go for a pinch hitter, and that decision pays off. Bloop single into right, we're going to look to score 2. Fletcher, meanwhile, is safe at third, and so the White Sox lead at 4-1. 2-run single for Matt Thays. Our belief in him there to keep him at the plate pays off. Stephan allows the first 2 runs of his season, and he will get yanked. But once Cleveland brings out a great reliever, they'll bring in another one. It's time for Paul Sewald to pitch. If you know, you know. 11 1/3 innings for the veteran. He's let up 4 runs so far. Big spot here for Lenyn Sosa. 2 on, 1 away, and he strikes out on the circle change. That's a big out, but he's got to get another. Rojas goes down on the circle change. Couple of former Diamondback teammates. Rojas was 3 for 3, but Sewald wins the battle. Bottom 6, Thorpe still in the game. He nearly gets his head ripped off by Steven Kwan. He singles that one up the middle into center. Thorpe's velos are starting to slip a little bit. We might get close to taking him out of the game. Will Brennan, 3-2. He sends this one into left, and that goes for a hit. Thorpe had only allowed 2 hits through the first 5 innings, and nothing since the first. But he lets up back-to-back base knocks right there, and I think that's our sign to take him out of the game. Another strong start, though, for Drew Thorpe, who's pitched well through his first 2 outings this year. Today he goes 5 1/3. He's only let up 1 run so far. The big thing for me, though, is the walks and the strikeouts. The walks went down from 6 to 1 compared to his first game, and the Ks went from 5 to 8. Cam Boozer out of the pen for Chicago. He's pitched in 8 games, but only 4 innings, and has allowed 2 earned runs in that stretch. 2 on, 2 away for Carlos Santana, who puts it on the ground. Ramos makes the play. Throw to first is in time, and the White Sox get out of the jam as it remains 4-1, looking to hold on for the final few innings and take the first of 3 in Cleveland. Sam Hentges, the lefty, out of the pen here in the 7th for the Guardians. 2.84 ERA. He's been pretty solid this year in a little over 6 innings. Luis Robert gets things started. He's played well today, but he chases the high fastball. Great pitch by Hentges to get the inning started. Full count here for the lefty, Mike Tauchman. And he will draw a walk. Oh no, they call him out on strikes. Got him looking. Wow, what a call there. Fry lines it to third. What a catch by Rojas to start the bottom of the 7th. Boozer still in the game against Bo Naylor, who draws a walk. Cleveland gets a runner aboard here with 1 away. And we're going to make a pitching change. Justin Anderson out of the pen for the White Sox. He has been a train wreck this year. His ERA just shy of 20. But we believe in him to get us out of this spot. Lane Thomas is up. That one gets by Thace. It's a wild pitch, and it will send Naylor over to second base. So he's now in scoring position. A full count upcoming for Thomas, and he singles this one into right field. Naylor will round third, heads home. The throw from Fletcher is offline. Bo Naylor will score, and Cleveland makes it 4-2. Big swing from Lane Thomas. 2 away and a full count now for Brian Rocchio. The pitch from Anderson. This one is lined into left center, and this one is going to roll into the gap. Thomas rounds third, heads home. He is safe, and it's 4-3. We've got ourselves a ball game all of a sudden. The Guardians are making a comeback. They've got the tying run on second base. We've got to yank Anderson out of the game. Another rough outing for him. And it's time for our high leverage man, James Karinchak, to get us out of the jam. The former Guardian playing against his former team for the first time. 1-2. Kwan goes down looking. With 2 strikes, when you get a fastball right down the heart of the plate, how do you not take a hack? What is Stephen Kwan thinking there, letting that pitch go right by him? Into the 8th, Hentges still in. Ramos goes down looking on the 12-6. Great pitch there by Hentges to get him looking. Full count now for Michael A. Taylor coming in off the bench. 3-2, draws a walk, and the White Sox get a runner aboard here with 2 away. Miguel Vargas is going to come in off the bench. He's ahead 3-1, and he will pop this one into right field. Lane Thomas will make the play. So it's 4-3 going into the bottom of the 8th. After 6 innings, we thought we had a somewhat comfortable win, but Cleveland says not so fast. They scored 2 in the 7th, looking to get some more here in the 8th. Brennan leads the inning off with a single. Another runner here for the Cleveland Guardians. They've got a man on first with nobody out. It's Jose Ramirez, their best player, who homered back in the first. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Big punch out for James Karinchak. We needed that one dearly. Carlos Santana now, the 1-2. He's going to get this one over to short, over the glove of Lenyn Sosa. A 62-mile-an-hour exit velo single. Sosa's got to get to that ball quicker. There is no excuse. 2 runners on, 1 away for David Fry. This one is lined into right for a hit. Taylor's got a good arm, and Cleveland will not test it. Will Brennan will hold it third, and the bases are loaded with 1 away. James Karinchak has allowed 3 base runners over the last 4 at-bats. I don't trust him right now. Penn Murphy's our best reliever, and he's got to get us out of this sticky situation. Naylor over to third. Rojas deflects it. Throw to first is not in time. Naylor is safe. Run scores. That's Brennan. We're tied at 4. Bases still loaded for Lane Thomas. Lines it into right. That's going to go for a hit, and it's 5-4 as Santana scores for the lead. The bases are still loaded with only 1 away. Cleveland has a chance to really build a lead. Arias swinging a miss. Great pitch by Murphy on the sweeper. He's got a great breaking ball showing it off there. 2 away now for Brian Rocchio. Gets a piece of it into right. Taylor at the track, at the wall, and he makes the catch. Michael A. Taylor snags it, robbing Rocchio of likely an extra base hit. The Guardians leave them loaded, but they do score a pair, taking the lead, which means it's closing time. The best closer in baseball, Emmanuel Clase, is in for the save. If there's one pitcher in baseball who I would not trust our offense to score a run off of in a one-inning scenario such as the ninth, it's probably Emmanuel Clase as he strikes out Lindin Sosa to get things started. Josh Rojas now 3 for 4, full count. Belts this one into center. Fourth hit of the ball game. Tying run is aboard. Big swing for Rojas, and now we've got ourselves a puncher's chance. Tying run is up. Go-ahead run is at the plate. Full count for Luis Robert. Draws a walk. Robert, being the star player, certainly wanted to swing the bat, but he'll take his base, and the go-ahead run is now at first. Tauchman pops it up. Cannot afford to do that with one away, ahead in the count 2-1. As Bo Naylor comes down with it. 2-1, 2 outs, down by 1. Andrew Vaughn hits it high and deep and a right. Thomas is after it, and he will make the play. I'll admit, off the bat, I thought Vaughn really got a piece of it, and it could have gone a little farther, but it was not meant to be. The Guardians, who went into the bottom of the 7th, down 4-1, come from behind, they win at 5-4. This bullpen is really, really bad, and they were horrible again today. If I got a nickel for every great Drew Thorpe start this year that was ruined by the bullpen, I would have 2 nickels. Not a lot of money, but it's unfortunate that it's happened twice. The walks were down and the strikeouts were up compared to his first game against Minnesota. 4 runs, 11 hits for the White Sox, 5 runs, 11 hits for Cleveland. The Guardians were clutch when it mattered, and that ends up being how they get their win. 4-6 now, our record through 10, and we're going to make it through the rest of April. Going through this Cleveland series, we played Boston twice, the Athletics twice, along with a road series in Minnesota. So we're going to hop into this next game against Cleveland. We're up 3-1. The Guardians at the bases loaded again. Isn't this deja vu? Penn Murphy is in. Gabriel Arias is up. Bottom 8 behind 1-2, down by 2, and that one goes into right for a base hit. Cleveland cuts it within 1 as it is now 3-2. Ryan Rocchio was inches away from a grand slam in the last game. He'll get another opportunity into left. Tauchman at the track, at the wall, and he makes the grab. 2 games in a row. Brian Rocchio has been inches away from grand slams, and today, those couple of inches were the difference. That's what she said. The White Sox win it 3-2, beating Cleveland in a tight one. Not our best offensive game, but a really good start from Jonathan Cannon. He only went 4 innings, but he didn't allow any runs. And the bullpen was not great, but not horrible. We would get shut out in the last game, dropping the series against Cleveland. Against the Red Sox, Brian Ramos is a triple shy at the cycle. Not to mention, we're down to our last out, trailing 11-7. Down the line, that is a fair ball. Probably won't be a triple, but it is his 4th hit of the game. Sliding into second, he is safe with a double. What a game from Brian Ramos that unfortunately was wasted away by horrible pitching. His double would not start a late rally as we lose this one 11-7. The offense did their job. The pitching, particularly the bullpen, was really bad. We lost the last game against Cleveland 2-0. This time we lose 11-7. Couldn't we have donated some of those runs to the last game against the Guardians? We ended up getting swept, unfortunately, by the Red Sox, bringing us to this series against the Athletics at home. We're up 3-1 in the 8th, but the bases are loaded. I'm not sure what to make of this white versus white uniform matchup. Urshela pops it into right. Not going to be an easy play, but Michael A. Taylor comes down with it. So the White Sox get out of the bases loaded jam, and ultimately, that would be the difference here. Chicago wins this game 3-1, snapping a 4-game losing streak, defeating the one team in the AL who currently has a worse record than us in the Athletics here on Jackie Robinson Day. Jonathan Cannon leads the way, 7 innings of 1-run ball. He's been inconsistent this year, but the highs have been really high. Luis Robert triples again, another strong performance from him as we go to this next game against the A's. Tied at 1 in the 10th. Now this is a uniform matchup I can get behind. 2 away, and Duhar grounds out to third. Brian Ramos makes the play. Penn Murphy gets out of the inning without allowing the extra inning runner to score. And now we have a golden opportunity to walk it off with the runner at second base and pinch hitter Josh Rojas up to bat against Jose Leclerc. He's ahead 3-0. He's got the green light. Singles into center, and we should be able to score the run. Rounding third is Baldwin. He slides safely, and the White Sox walk it off. We win this game 2-1. A risky decision to swing up 3-0. But I figured a walk doesn't really do the A's any good there. Despite that, I was still expecting a pitch right down the middle, and that's obviously exactly what ended up happening. Bryce Wilson with a terrific start. 6 scoreless innings, only lets up 1 hit. ERA sits at .77. He's been very good this year. Let's see if we can get this sweep. It's not looking particularly likely. We're down 3-1 here in the bottom of the 9th. As Benintendi swings and misses on the pitch from Mason Miller. We do have 2 runners on. Winning run is at the plate. It's Brian Ramos who goes down on the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It's been a rough year for Mason Miller. His ERA sits in the 9s, but he's able to get the save here. The Athletics avoid the sweep, winning at 3-1. We had a chance there in the 9th with 2 base runners, but unfortunately, we couldn't make a play. We just did not get enough in this one from the offense, despite another strong showing pitching-wise. Davis Martin was pretty good. Bullpen did their job. So we're going to move pretty far into the future. Let's go to this series against Minnesota. We lost 3 of 4 at Fenway against the Red Sox, and we have lost the first 2 here against the Twins. So we're 1-5 since the last game against the A's, looking to avoid a 5-game losing streak. We're up 3-2 here in the bottom of the 8th. Christian Vasquez lays bunt, and he gets hit. The bases are now loaded. That'll bring up Willie Castro, who goes down looking on the sinker. Good pitch there by Justin Anderson. 1 away for Jose Miranda. This one goes into right field for a hit. Twins tie it. They're going to go for the lead. Second runner is safe despite a good throw from Taylor, and it's now 4-3. We're going to make a switch in the bullpen. It's been a rough season for Justin Anderson. Dan Altavilla will come in to replace him. He's been solid this year, 4.15 ERA, one of our better relievers, not that the bar is high. Sosa deflects that one from Royce Lewis. Honestly, kind of an impressive play, even though they still got the base hit. That ball would have gone in the outfield and could have scored the run otherwise. Matt Wallner tries to drive him in anyway, and he will. Single into right, that'll make it 5-3. Another bullpen implosion from the Chicago White Sox. Byron Buxton chases the 2-seam fastball. Minnesota leaves them loaded, but they score 3. Their impressive 8th inning gets them the win, gets them the sweep. We are now 1-6 in our last 7, including a 5-game losing streak. That's the Chicago White Sox that we all know and love. Drew Thorpe had another good start, and the bullpen blew it again. Drew Thorpe might be the unluckiest guy ever. The losing streak would go up to 7. We drop our first 2 against the A's. But Lenyn Sosa has a chance at a 3-home run game. Facing off against Jose Leclerc, lines this one into the corner and right. Not a homer, but it should go for an extra base hit. Making his way to second, he slides safely with a double. Sosa had not homered in the team's first 27 games this year, but he's got 2 today. Potentially the final out as he goes down on the slider against Mason Miller. And the Athletics sweep the White Sox here in Sacramento. Chicago drops this game 7-5. So the White Sox now have lost 8 games in a row. We've been swept in back-to-back series. And on this 10-game road trip, we end up 1-9. That puts us at 8-20, approaching the end of the month. Our winning percentage is below 30. But you got to keep in mind, it's better than what we had last year. Progress. And we had the worst record in Major League Baseball, although our friends from the north side, the Cubs, are not doing too much better. As I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm going to go through stats here at the end, and I want you guys to point someone out in the comments whether they did impressively well or impressively bad, and we're going to see why going into the month of May. I think the biggest problem with this team so far is that our pitching staff has been a complete joke, especially the bullpen. 5.73 ERA, that is the worst in Major League Baseball. In terms of our top prospects, it's been up and down. Noah Schultz has been dominant in Double-A. His strikeout rate has been a lot higher than I expected. Hagen Smith is also playing really well, while Jairo Iriarte has been great in Triple-A. As for the position players, Kyle Teal is raking. Edgar Caro, meanwhile, is off to a slow start. Colson Montgomery is not doing very well in Triple-A, but Braden Montgomery has been very good in Double-A. Good to see Montgomery and Teal producing. The return on the Garrett Crochet trade has been a win so far, as that gets us set for the month of May. If you're looking for a positive from April, our team stayed pretty healthy. It's impressive that we were this bad while staying healthy, though. Imagine when we get a bunch of injuries, how this team is going to look. So going into May, we're going to get through the entire month in the next episode. We're going to talk about the minor leagues, while, of course, still focusing largely on this disaster of a major league team. Hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was a long one, but we had a lot of stuff to go over today. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.